It's Tip and Tara with Fit to Travel, and today we have a very special video because we got to swim with whales. So yesterday we had the absolute worst weather, but we had our swimming with whales excursion booked. So we want to talk all about that, like what to expect, how to do it, what company to use, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so one thing, a caveat, I did not swim with the whales. I am not the strongest swimmer. I just learned how to swim a couple years ago, and the seas were rough, and I decided that I was not going to swim with them because I didn't want to panic and drown. But Terry got to do it, and then I took pictures and stuff from the boat. Still a great experience if you don't swim well, to go see the whales. So
yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in our video on what to expect when you plan to swim with the whales, because there are some things that you need to know about that. But to start, we're going to talk about what company we booked. So we went with Moorea Moana Tours, and I just found them through a quick Google search. They had really good reviews, and it worked out for the days that we were here with availability. So looking back after the tour, they were great. Everything was great. They had the captain, the guide, and then they also have a photographer there with you that you can pay extra for.
with the giant ass camera.
Yeah, for underwater videos and photos with the whales. Which we did not choose to do that, but she is there to take photos and stuff. So, like I said, we just booked online, so through their website, and we'll link their website down below, but you can just book directly through them. Price came out to be about $175 after everything per person, so it was like 350 US dollars. And the cool thing about them is they will actually pick you up from your hotel on the island. So you let them know where you're staying, and then they'll give you a time frame of what time they're going to be there. You can also drive and meet them at the location, but for us, it was just easier just to have the pickup and the drop off, as opposed to having to drive more than we needed to. So that's all the logistics. And now we're going to talk about expectations of the tour.
Yeah, so what to expect is they suggest that you are a strong swimmer. So i.e. one of the reasons why I didn't do it. But looking back at it, I think I probably could have done it. So I'll do it next time if we ever make it down here. It's just the whole panicking part that I feel like I would have had once we got close to the whales. And then also another thing you want to expect is the possibility of not seeing them. So we've read that, you might want to try to book 2 or 3 tours if you actually don't see them or are able to swim with them, because, chances are that you're out there, it's a big ocean, and they might not be able to find them. So don't expect that you will be able to see them or even be able to swim with them. Because, one thing, we were on a boat with somebody who this was his 3rd tour in the last week, and he said that this was the best interaction that he has had with the whales. So it's just kind of the luck of the draw, and then also kind of the season for doing this is July to early November. That's when they are roughly here. The whales are here, and then they start to migrate down to Antarctica roughly about this time. So we feel like what the guide said, that we saw the last couple whales that were in this area.
Yeah, we got really lucky because today is November 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
So first week of November, we're down here. And so I wanted to book it as soon as we got to Moorea, because of that reason. You don't know how long they're going to be here. Basically, the mom and the baby, the mom is feeding the baby now to get it strong enough to migrate to Antarctica. So once that baby is big enough or has enough food, then they go to Antarctica. So it could be a couple more days that they're here. It could be another week or two. Nobody really knows. So know that when you're booking. And this tour company, they still do tours. It just doesn't have the whale watching. So you have other things that you can look at, which we will talk about later. But just know that it's luck of the draw. It's nature. You never know what to expect. Just like the weather, you don't know what to expect. So be prepared for that.
Yeah. So let's talk about now the journey to get out there. I like to call this the perfect storm. We are here in early November, and this is kind of the beginning of rainy season. And, the day was kind of like this as we were heading out there, but then as we took our transfer up north a little bit, only about 5-10 minutes, started to rain. Our taxi driver was like, "You guys are brave for going out there." And we understood why she said that, right?
Because we were like, what? What's not that bad?
Exactly. And then I'm going to pop up a video right now so you guys can actually see for yourselves what it was like to get out. Just getting out of the lagoon was intense, and then getting out into the actual open ocean was even more intense. And we believe that these videos, watching back, don't even do it justice. Mm-hmm. So here are the videos.
So as you can see, it was very rainy. It was like coming sideways, pelting us. It felt like paintballing.
Yeah.
It was very rocky waters going out into the ocean. And then you just kind of wait out there. So you just kind of survey the land, the water, and kind of everyone tries to look for the whales. So some things that you should plan to bring, no matter the time of year, I think, is a raincoat.
Yep.
Which we failed to bring. Wetsuit, if you have one, or even just like a top part of the wetsuit. Waterproof bag. That would have been clutch yesterday.
So I brought my camera bag. But they luckily because it was just coming down, there was no way I would have been able to keep all my electronics dry, but they let me put it into underneath where they
where the fins are.
Where the fins are. So that's luckily for that. Otherwise, it would have been just completely soaked, and we might not be able to even record this right now.
Yeah. GoPro, obviously, or any underwater camera that you have for potential whale sightings. And then water shoes and towels, which
I would suggest if in the rainy season, bring your towels and the waterproof bag, put it in there.
Yeah, or in a bag. We weren't expecting it to be as nasty of rain as it was. We're from Oregon, so we were like, it's rain, who cares, but it was coming down. So our towel got completely soaked. We didn't have a raincoat. We were not prepared. Mm-hmm. And things not to bring. We have a full face snorkel mask, which is not the best one for using in water like we were in, so rough water. If it's calmer, it's much better, but it's totally fine if you don't have a good snorkel mask or fins or anything, because they provide all of that. So I just used their fins and their snorkel mask during that time, and so you don't even have to worry about bringing any of that stuff. If you have it, great, but if not, don't worry about it.
All right, so now once you get out of the lagoon and you get into the ocean, you're in the open water, they have you start helping them search for the whales. And they're looking for just kind of blowholes, just them blowing and breathing the air out of their blowholes. But one thing, don't expect to be able, especially where we're at in the beginning was rough. You could not tell a wave and a blowhole apart.
Yeah, the waves were so white.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell. You thought you were seeing a bunch of whale spouts, and it was just how rocky it was.
And nobody spotted the guide, Keanu. He was the one that actually spotted it when we finally got into a little bit calmer waters. But then once you actually saw what he was talking about, everybody started spotting it like right away. But yeah, that's one thing, is you're kind of just sitting there and waiting. And you could be waiting around for a long time. Like they said, it could be 5 minutes, or it could be 4 hours, or it could be no hours. You could actually just run out of time. And for us, luckily it was about 90 minutes until we firstly spotted them. So you gotta realize and understand that it's actually gonna take a while, or it could be quick. So just have some patience.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, they're observing the whales. If you do see whales, they're observing the whales' interaction. So they want it to be the best opportunity for us to swim with the whales. So they're not just going to be like, oh, there's the whales, let's everybody jump in. Exactly. So they see what the whales are doing. In this case, it was a mom and a calf. And so you kind of pay attention to what they're doing and how long they're staying underwater, or if they're jumping up and down, like that's not a good time to like swim out to them, because they're obviously going to move away from us. So the guides are there to make it as fluid as possible for us to have the best experience. So even though you see the whales, you have to wait for them to kind of settle down at the bottom, or like rest a little bit, in order to get out there to swim to them, because you will have to swim to the whales.
Yeah, and make sure that you take some Dramamine, especially if you get seasick. I would suggest, even if you don't really get seasick, which I don't really, but I took some before and I'm really glad I did. And because the waters can get really rocky, and it just depends on the time you're there, but it's still, it's a smaller little boat, and it gets rough out there.
Yeah, so. And if you're swimming back and forth, you're swimming in the open ocean. So it's not like you're just swimming in the little bay back here that's nice and calm. You're swimming out against the current at times, which can make you feel more seasick. So take some Dramamine ahead of time. Be aware of that, just to kind of prevent it. You don't want to get sick while you're out there snorkeling or swimming, or even on the boat.
Yeah, and patience, because it might not happen. Like that's the biggest thing. We've been lucky. We were lucky in Alaska. We're lucky here. We had just great interactions, but you can't just expect them to be able to find them. It's not an exact science, because they can't use sonar. It's illegal, and so it takes a while. And hopefully you're able to see it if you book the trip, but just expect that you might not be able to see it.
Yeah, and so now we're going to talk about what your expectation should be when you're actually getting in the water to swim with the whales. So once they spot the whales and they kind of observe what their behavior is like, and they think it's a good time to go, the boat has to stay 100 meters away from the whales. So if the whales are coming towards you, you have to continually move the boat away, which happened a couple times yesterday. And that's just to protect the whales. But that also means that you will have to swim to the whales. And this is why it's expected that you are a fairly strong swimmer, because you are potentially swimming against the current in open ocean. And so you're not just gonna it's not just like an easy little swim. You want to get out there quickly in order to get the best opportunity to swim with the whales. If you're taking your time and, kind of twirling your thumbs as you're getting out there, the whale could potentially move away from you. So you'll also want to be as a group, so they want you to stay close together. And that means you have to kind of get in and out of the water quickly and quietly to not disturb the whale. So, swimming with your fins under the water as opposed to on top to not have as much noise and that kind of stuff. So we did have to kind of get in and out of the water multiple times based on what the whale was doing. So the first time we got in, we got close to the whale, but then the whale moved away from us. So we went back to the boat, got back on the boat, drove closer, and then got back in the water. That's obviously quicker than just trying to keep swimming to the whale. So be prepared for that too. You might have to get in and out of the water multiple times. You don't have to keep getting in, but obviously if you want to see the whale or swim with the whale, you have the best chance to do that. So just know that it's a pretty active tour. It requires a lot. It can be pretty tiring, but it's definitely worth it if you can get the chance to swim with the whales, because it's like unreal. Like seeing them up close was just amazing. And French Polynesia is actually it's one of the few places that you can swim with whales. So it's a great spot to come if you are wanting to get that chance.
Yeah, so my experience from just being on the boat was just, like I said, it was awesome, it was cool, but getting in there would have been even cooler. But one of the coolest things after watching the videos, watching them back and everything, is hearing the whales sing. So if you do have a GoPro, like we said earlier, try to bring one of those in, because it will capture the sound, and then which we will show you in the videos, is you can hear them singing to each other, and which is one of the coolest things that I was like just mesmerized hearing that. That's something I wish I got in the water for, just to hear them singing to each other.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't even notice that, like, at times you could hear them talking, but like in the video you can hear them just like going back and forth, like singing and talking and whatever, and it's so much clearer than what I thought it was underneath. So like it's just amazing to kind of, I don't know, maybe I was just in my own world of like trying to get to the whale and like seeing the whale, but being able to hear them kind of speak and sing is also really cool. The other thing is, like, this tour, it runs all year. So if you're not here during whale season, what they do is they take you out onto the lagoon, and they take you to swim with the blacktip sharks and the manta rays. So that is a part of the tour. Obviously, right now, the big part is the whale swimming. I think if we would have seen the whales early on and had good weather, they would have taken us there afterwards. But for us, it was just like totally focused on the whales, which is
worth it.
all we wanted to do. But this tour also it's called the Wildlife Expedition. And so they also do other, like, swimming with different wildlife, whatever is around, right? So I think a couple days ago they got to swim with the dolphins. So it really just depends on what's out there, and they're going to take you there and they're going to show you a good time. So just be aware of when you're coming. If you are coming in the whale season, that's great, but that doesn't mean that that's necessarily what you're going to see. So, but still really cool. Everyone was great on the boat, and the tour was awesome. We would definitely do them again next time we come. But definitely worth it. Definitely worth the rain and the rockiness to be able to swim with the whales. Yeah,
it was brutal. Everybody wanted to turn around, and after the first like 30 minutes, but we just kept pushing on, because obviously they're experienced. They knew what we were going through. They wouldn't take you out if it was like completely dangerous, but it was just more cold, and it was a great excursion, even if you stayed on the boat like I did, right? But it's like you have to make sure that you can get in there and just have fun, and it was worth the price of admission.
Yeah, it was definitely worth it. If you have the chance to swim with whales, I mean, I thought whale watching from a boat in Alaska was cool, but swimming with the whales is like unreal.
Yeah.
It's like, it's nothing that the video that you see is doesn't even do it justice to see how awesome it is. It's really cool.
So if you guys have made it this far in the video, make sure that you guys like, comment, and subscribe, because we have more content coming. This is only our third or fourth day, I don't know, I've lost time, on the island. We still have a lot of stuff to do, including the overwater bungalow, which we're gonna do in a couple days, in Bora Bora.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. So you just gotta make sure that you guys subscribe so you don't miss that when we finally release it.
Yeah. Make sure to also watch our Things to Know When You Visit French Polynesia video. We'll link that here. Make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss another video.
All right, see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Good.
Good.
I think I've had enough coffee for today.